Dr. Leisha, the Preacha-OK. Somehow, some way, my former pastor, Newby, is still with me today. He is still actually leading me into the fold, into the ministry. So, no matter what I say, what I share here live or download onto YouTube or any other social media platform, no matter what I share about my second marriage, mostly the second marriage. Sometimes I may refer to the first marriage because of the experience. But again, no matter what I share here, at the end of any day, that was the marriage where I was proven. I was proven, tested. I had been a believer since I was a child. I had been a believer. I understood suffering. I understood a lot of things. I really did. But there comes a time when, or at least for me, I was put to the test. I'm not comparing myself to Job. Of course not. I'm not a man. You know what I'm saying? But if there's a Jobette out there, I'm so silly, y'all. But the point is, I was a believer all my life. But it was this marriage and under the careful guidance of the pastor that my second husband led me to. You know what I mean? My second husband, on our best and worst days, at the end of any day, and at the greatest time in my life right now, I feel like this is the greatest time of my life. I'm 55. I have life experience. I mean, like some good, rich, balanced, good and evil life experience. You know what I'm saying, guys? So I'm at that point in my life, and I could not be here. I could not be here testifying, sharing, analyzing, criticizing, you know, any part of my life had I not had that second marriage. Had I not had it, I had to have had it. It was my proving ground. And it's so interesting because, he's still may be, I don't know, I don't know his life like that no more, but, you know, one of GM's best engineers, one of GM's best engineers. I know because I was his wife and I saw him. I don't have no reason to lie. I'm seeing all this other stuff about him. I mean, I'm sharing his bad side. I don't have no reason to be shy about the man's good side. I help invest and contribute in that good side. So I report out on both. Like I said, we have had some wonderful days, and we had some equally horrible days for balance sake. That's just how balance work, you know? So the first part of our marriage, even with the challenges, even with the challenges, and there were many in the beginning, there were many challenges, but even in the midst of all those challenges, we had some really, really, really good days, despite the challenges. And because we invested so much goodness in like the first half of our marriage, on the second half of our marriage, like the butterfly wing, if you could imagine with me. So now we're on the other wing, the bad wing. We lived the good wing of life with the challenges too. For the first half of our marriage, let's say 15, 16 years. Here we are on the last wing of our life, of our marriage. And we hadn't really dealt with the bad stuff. We hadn't really, you know, we were taught to avoid evil. We were taught to be good. So when bad starts slapping us all up in the face and punching our lights out, we were dealing with bad, evil, with the challenges too. New challenges on top of it, new challenges on top of it. Neither one of us should have been prepared based on how we were raised in our homes and churches and school, and based on the community that was strategically designed for us through the 1900 Great Migration, and then through the 1800 treaties and things for natives. You know what I'm saying? The community that was designed just for us did its job. It did its job. It did not prepare us for evil. It did not prepare us for the bad things in life. We were cheated. We were cheated. But at the end of the day, though, just like my ex, big time engineer, GM and all, he would have to go out to a place and they had what was called, I think, proving grounds. You know, the things that I create from my belief by faith must be proven, tested, tossed around, treated like a dummy. Yeah. So during that time, I looked extremely defeated. I'm out in the streets, a married woman running around the streets. It don't matter which street. It don't matter if it was the Avenue, Boulevard, Parkway, or, the drives, you know, the hood, alleyways. It just, when you're disobeying God, when you're not prepared, trained, united, it don't matter the street, if they're gold or unpaved, uncharted, that part don't matter. We're the ones that argue over that stuff, thinking that one road is better than another and all that. I do admit though, I can't stand driving on dirt roads. I can't stand it. I don't have the patience. You have to really drive slow. And how I know is because when I was under my last pastor in Florida, He's a country man, extremely country. I was raised by country men, so, I know country when I, hear it, feel it, taste, I know country food, country talk, all that. Anyway, so, you know, he always had a pickup truck. He's a home improvement guy. He's an entrepreneur, successful man. That's just what I attract. I don't even have to do anything. These type of men just find me, guys. I don't have to do anything. They find me. There are men that have shown interest in dating me on whatever level they offer. They show their interest and make their offer. Um, some of these guys don't even work. They don't even work. They just have like investment accounts that they live off of and stuff. You know what I mean? They just live off of residual income or something. It's none of my business. A man do what he do. You know, a man's wealth can come from his father's side, his mother's side, and then whatever he created for himself. He should have streams and multiple incomes. That just shouldn't be an issue. So, and likewise, women, we are set up the same way. That is our goal. It should not matter which husband is in our bed right now today. It should not matter. We should be able to stand on our own, with or without him. I suggest with him. Life is so much more fun with, partners, in my opinion. It's just so much more fun, even with the challenges, you know, even when they're not sure how much they love me. That is so irrelevant to me because all love comes from Most High. And Most High has downloaded a lot of love in me. So as long as a person treat me as well as they treat themselves, the amount of love they have for me is kind of not the point. Just treat me right. Treat me right, and I can handle the love part. Treat me right, and I can build wealth unlimitedly. Treat me right, and my spirituality will just soar like eagle wings. You know what I'm saying? Just treat me right. That's it. Don't worry about the rest. I'm just saying, my cups are so full normally that whatever's in your cups really don't impact mine. Just treat me as well as you treat yourself. Whatever's in your cup and you do to you, be that way with me. That's all I'm saying. Because that's how I am with my cups. My cups stay full because of I know how to balance the good and evil in my life. I don't act like I don't have bad. Why would I act that way? Why act like I'm not bad sometimes? If I'm proud of being good all the time, then I need to be just as proud of being bad sometimes too. And be willing to talk about it, be willing to confess my faults to people, be willing to fix the problems. That's what evil management is really about. When stuff pop off, how do you act? Just like on the good side. On the good side of life, when stuff pop off, how do you act? When things are good, how do you act? When things are bad, how do you act? And why? I'm just saying. And then keep in mind, everyone does not view good the same, and not everyone view bad the same. Everyone has different type of experiences and lenses in life. We may be headed to the same place, But you may be getting there on streets of gold, and I might be on dirt roads. But we headed to the same place. So again, even though the treatment between my second husband and I was not well enough to stay married, I will always love him. I will always forgive him. And I will continue to talk about our issues because he didn't bother to talk about them. He didn't bother to talk about them with me. He didn't bother to be specific enough with me as to why he even left, other than the normal stuff. You know, you're black, you're evil, you know. That was normal from day one. I was used to that. I was used to all the other women. I got used to all that. I was used to that treatment. So that couldn't be, after 25 years, the reason why you divorced me and left with half my money. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? It had to be something greater, you know? I had already adjusted to your evil side. Thoroughly, 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 thoroughly enjoyed the good side of you. Thoroughly enjoyed the good side and adjusted to your evil. So the hardest part was over. And then he chose to leave without further explanation, without, and because he decided to leave that way and actually marry somebody in my face like that, I have to talk. I have to unpack it myself. I'm not the kind of person that can just say, well, he left, oh well, and go on, life go on, and just lay up other new people like, you know, nothing happened to me. I'm not that woman. I'm, you know, I don't even mind apologizing for it. Mhm. Because women like me who actually share our experience and express, you know, how what happened, you know, make us feel. And when I say feel, I mean like in the soul, in the mind, in the heart, in my body. Those are all four areas that what he did to me were impacted. And each area has some type of feeling, experience, a need to express, testify, share. Each of those areas that were uniquely impacted by the betrayal needs to share. And I don't even know what all is going to be coming out of these cups. I really don't know. It's been 7 years already. It's been 7 years already, guys. And I haven't even scratched the surface. I haven't even started reading the 1,000 emails shared between us over the years, trying to maintain a marriage filled with greatness and evil, both, in such full ways. We have full greatness and full evilness in our marriage. So I'm here to talk about it because it deeply impacted me. And I had to heal by myself. I had to heal alone. Not meaning that, I don't mean that there was absolutely no one there for me at all. You know what I'm trying to say? Most High sent strangers because family and friends were in the witness room. Family and friends were kind of bound to be neutral while we were going through this extremely impactful separation that impacts so many people. You know, some people get together and, you know, people really have hope. It brings hope in people's minds and hearts and lives. The fact that these two people are together, it can really bring hope. And there are other people that are together. It just brings so much division and toxicity to the world that, people just be like, "Ugh, those people," you know what I mean? So when you're that couple that people, you know, look up to, so to speak, to a degree, when you break up, those same people are brought down. You brought them up, and when you don't make it, you bring those same people down. And depending on how you treat each other, it create conflict, disruption, separation, sometimes permanent damage among these people that once had hope. But I'm here to say that although my ex and I disappointed a lot of people, we disappointed a lot of people. And that's the part that breaks me. He and I had the right to fail. We had the right to fail. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad that he found somebody else. I'm not mad that I was wrong. I'm not mad that I believed in my heart, mind, soul, and my creation, my existence, that I was made for him. I know I was made for him. I know it. Can't nobody take that away from me. You know what I mean? But I was wrong. I was wrong. Even though I know what I know, I was proven to be wrong because he divorced me. He found what I found in him, he found in somebody else. That's the part that I have to admit wrong at. I was wrong, guys. And I'm sorry for disappointing everybody and making a wrong choice and building up all that hope just so that you could see him walk off with somebody else. And I know some of you guys are hurting today because y'all cheered him on. Y'all turned on me and cheered him on. And some of you to this day still feel like I was the most wrong and cheering him on today still. And that's okay. It's okay. All I can do is forgive everybody, allow you all to live your choice in peace. But I have the right to tell my story because to this day, I know I was made for him. And I do not regret the love. Yes, I'm embarrassed. Yes, I feel stupid and all of that. All of that. I can't deny that part. But I cannot deny the belief and the faith that I had. Either I can't deny that either, guys. Every butterfly has two wings, the good one and the bad one. The good part of the wing of my marriage was my faith and belief, knowing that he was made for me and I was made for him. I know that part. But the part that I have to also admit, the bad wing, where obviously I was wrong because of his choices. I have to admit that. How can I not? How can he and his new wife feel that they are twin flames and in love and soulmates and gonna be together forever if I don't say that I'm wrong? You hear what I'm saying? Regardless to my belief, regardless to my faith, regardless to what I know, regardless to me, because of his choice today, I have to say I'm wrong. And I have to apologize to everyone that I misled into a marriage. Filling your minds and hearts with hope. Some of you actually ran out and got married because I did. I brought that much hope in your life. And this man never even liked me. He never even really liked me. He just married me to make somebody else jealous at the time, who he really wanted, which I questioned if he even really wanted her too. It's just so weird. But at the end of the day, I know I was not his preference. And I have to admit that to you guys. I have to. I was not his preference. You know, he didn't believe in me. He said it to my face. We were never a power couple, which basically says that he should have never married me from day one. He made a mistake. I was his mistake. And so, ladies, sometimes that can happen. You can, like Eve in the garden, I mean, Most High sent Eve to Adam. The Bible says it. Most High sent this woman to this man. And to this day, we really don't know what really happened for real, for real. To this day. It's some stuff written in that Bible, but the way it's written, it just creates so many possibilities. You know what I'm saying? So many possibilities. The way it's written. And so the way my marriage presented itself, it just created so many questions and possible scenarios and stuff. So the only thing I could do is just testify and tell my story. Some people will believe me and some people will not, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, the pastor that we had, he had compassion for me and he did not violate me. Because of him, I was able to stay married until that man left me, until that man had respect enough for himself to say, I can no longer lie to this woman. I can no longer make her have sex with me, make her cook for me, make her clean for me, make her, raise kids for me when I don't even want her. I can no longer break this woman down anymore. She's already codependent and I don't want to give her no more money. She's already suicidal 5 times and I don't want her and I don't love her and I don't even go to her doctor visits. I just, you know, there came a point where he just could not fake it anymore. He couldn't fake it. We both knew we couldn't make it. But there was no plan in place for an ending. That kind of stuff is not talked about in church. That kind of stuff is not, discussing the evils that happen in marriage. There's no plan for it. So that's why I'm coming forward. You have to plan for the endings. Before you even get legally married, you have to have a legal divorce plan, a legal death plan, a legal separation plan in place. You have to have an ending. The wedding is well planned, usually, the beginning, rather, is well planned. The ending must be planned too, to avoid unnecessary heartbreak, unnecessary poverty, unnecessary dishonor, unnecessary lying, cheating, stealing. All that stuff's unnecessary when you can just have a plan in place. It's not an escape plan, it's just called an ending. My ex and his new woman were able to steal from me because there was no ending in place for us. We couldn't agree on how to end. We couldn't agree on how to end. So they had the advantage to just run off and steal. I didn't have anything to run off and steal with. I wish I did. Maybe that's why Most High didn't had nothing there for me to steal because he knew I probably would have. Well, thank you, Most High, for protecting me from being the one from stealing from the marriage. Thank you. But Pastor Newby, the pastor that we had, I was able to talk to him about the troubles. He knew about, this forced adoption. He knew that I was not the first choice. He knew he didn't even marry us. he knew we should not have gotten married. Our pastor did not even marry us. He told my husband that it was not right. He told my husband it was not right. So my husband found somebody else to marry us. But Pastor Newby did let us have the wedding reception, the wedding party after, the wedding and everything. He let us have it at the church. My husband planned all this, the ex. He planned all this. He planned the entire wedding. Paid for it, planned it. I didn't have any say so, nothing. No contribution to it other than what I wore. So he and his pastor at the time, because I wasn't married to him yet, so he wasn't my pastor. So he and his pastor didn't even agree that he should even marry me. I didn't really get all that at the time. I wasn't a part of the planning. I didn't know they were having all these conversations and stuff. The extent, you know what I mean? But once he, had all his plans, he had to explain to me why we weren't getting married at the church. Like, why we didn't get married at church? Why your pastor ain't married us? Mm. But we had our, party there, and the food was great, and the pastor was there. And once we were married, the pastor became my pastor, and he was committed. I mean, he was committed to my soul. And I did not hold back. I let him know everything. I shared all my struggles. And he advised me and my husband. We always met, together and stuff. He advised us. He elevated us in the church. We were over the couples ministry. I was very, very involved with Vacation Bible School. I was a part of I was never allowed to be an official teacher at the church, so to speak, but I hung out with the teachers, went to the teachers' meetings, and studied with the teachers. And, Pastor Newby opened up a library, inspired by me. I was just such a knowledgeable woman and just love knowledge and, knowledge. I'm just a sponge when it comes to knowledge. But I'm not just all about knowledge. I have to understand. I have to understand what I know. In order to understand, some experience has to take place. I'm gonna have to live some stuff. And I did. And Pastor Newby, for at least the first, I think, like 9 years of our marriage, he was our spirituality. He held us accountable. We were responsible together. It was beautiful. Even though I know he wasn't what I wanted and I wasn't what he wanted, so to speak. You know what I mean? We settled for each other, but I knew I was made for him. I knew, like, I don't know if Eve wanted Adam, but God sent Eve to him. We don't know if Eve wanted Adam back. We don't know that much. We just know the girl was sent to the man to help him, you know? So, I was married before and I knew my husband in high school, so, we both were rebounding, really. We were both rebounding. And, but I still held him in very, 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 very high honor. You are the man that God actually, twinned me for. Like, I know I'm not one of those people that is supposed to be solo. I know that. I've known that since I was a child. But I've also learned that I don't have to be legally married to somebody, and I don't have to live with somebody or be overly committed to somebody in order to be the flame, you know, to live the purpose out that we share, work on the same assignments, be a part of a team to get certain work done on this earth. That's what I've learned. And so, again, even though the actual physical marriage that I was in with the ex, you know, didn't work out. We didn't, it didn't work out, for whatever reasons. It just didn't. But that marriage was still used to bring me to a, 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 a higher ground still. It was still higher ground because that's where my faith and my hope and my life was proven on that stage. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal, a brutal stage of marriage. But again, it had wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I forgot to turn off the comments. I see some of the comments. Okay, let me go back. I didn't turn off the comments, so let me look at them. My apologies. And I forgot to turn off you know, I forgot to blacken it out and I forgot to turn off the comments. That's my fault. I apologize, guys. And so I see the negative comments, I look like crap and all that. So, yeah. That's what my husband used to say. I'm used to those. You know, I understand that I'm viewed as being ugly, black. I think somebody said you look like doo doo and your ego and all that. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard it all before. So again, that's why I have this channel to go ahead and reveal this type of energy that we deal with. Yeah. Yeah. This is what we deal with. And then I see a comment says, Jesus is with you every day in every footstep. Jesus all time has a reason. Well, thank you for that positive comment. I appreciate that. I appreciate positive comments. I love them, absolutely. But when it comes to the negative ones, I was, I've been dealing with negative energy my entire life. I teach on my channel negative energy management. Negative energy management, yes. But it was my point to have this blackened out because my hair is, I took my braids out. So, my natural braids is do look all dookie. You do. And I know I look at her mess. That's why I was trying to have a blackened out screen. I know I look at her mess for real, for real. So I deal with negative energy different. Now, sometimes if you catch me at the wrong moment, I might pop off. I'm from the hood. Hood people, that's just how we are. Like people say like New Yorkers and stuff. You know, New Yorkers have a reputation. Well, hood people do too. Just because we're preachers and teachers and whatever, we still hood. I mean, like, I don't understand why that's a problem or like confusing to people. Hood is a survival mechanism. It's an energy, you know? It's not a particular clothing line. It's not a particular eyelash line. You know what I'm saying? It's not a particular weave line or wig line or not. You know, it's not a particular look per se. It's an energy based on surviving poverty. And when you in this energy, hood energy, surviving poverty, you know what I mean? Like, who can judge? I mean, like at our churches, like even when I was preaching in Florida a few years ago, I was preaching in the pulpit, you know, and so a guy come in off the street. I mean, we in the hood here, so this guy come off the street. He inspired. He drunk, you know. It was a drug house right next door. I mean, we live in right in the middle of the crack neighborhood. So, this church is in the crack neighborhood. And so one of the people, they walking by anyway, he stumbled in, he heard a word, he stumbled in, come up to the front, he want me to pray for him. But pastor and the other guys in the church like, oh, dude, hold up. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna just let bruh come up off the street, high, drunk. We don't know what the hell. You know what I'm saying? Come up and try to talk about some prayer. Now, I was like, letting them know it's okay. He asked for prayer. And, I'm filming this. So I'm like, we gonna pray for you, bruh. But they had the right to go ahead and get him out the building. You gotta have order. But he came for prayer. I did pray for the brother. I did pray. But the men of the church, they know how to handle the church, you know. So I honor the man's request as they were escorting him out the building. You know what I'm saying? But as a woman, I at least heard the man acknowledge what he was asking as the men was getting him the hell out. You know what I'm saying? That's so hood churches, crack churches and shit, it's different, y'all. It's different. It's a different environment, a different life. And it should not be held with the same lens as a suburban church, where you can pull up in your Bentleys, BMWs, with your $1,000 outfits on, you know, doors are nicely opened, like you're going through the supermarket door or something. And you have ushers. I mean, I live this life, so that's why I'm talking about it. Pastor Newby offered that kind of life for me. I'm saying, we had paid security parking lots. We had multiple parking lots, and so I went to, you know, a wealthy church, a historical black church. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just, you know, but I'm just saying. But now I serve hood level, where the crack house is next door. This is different for me. You know, but I was born and raised in Detroit, so it's not like unfamiliar. It's not unfamiliar, but in my adult life, you know what I mean? At 18, I went to college. I lived in dorms. I married my first husband was my college sweetheart. Married at age 20. We opened up a family business, when I was like, what, 22. Opened up a family business, bought my first home with a VA loan. You know what I'm saying? So I'm different in that regard, you know. And so at the end of the day, we were a big three family in Detroit. We had money, big three money, nothing, not no rich folks, not rich, rich, but we had back in the day, union, big three money in our family. So I wasn't a poor kid, but I still was born and raised in the city among everybody, even the poor kids, like the poorest, you know, to understand. So Pastor Newby was an excellent, excellent, excellent pastor. He held our marriage. He held it. He really held it together. And when he passed away 9 years into our marriage or so, uh, we didn't have what it took, after that to really. But I disagree because we still pulled off 25 years. I mean, here it's just weird. So I'm just gonna keep talking about it, guys. And it will make sense to some people, and some people it just will not make sense. People will throw eggs at me on stage. They're gonna throw tomatoes and eggs, say I'm ugly, say I look like doo doo. I get it. you know. So, I'm in a this is a online hood ministry, and you gotta take the good with the bad. you know. So most, times I'll have people be positive to me on this channel. Great. Just like at church in the physical building, you're gonna have the mothers up front with their hats on, and and then you're gonna have people that's just gonna walk in off the street sometimes. They may be drunk and high or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is here on my YouTube channel anyway. I can't speak for other people's channels. Each channel is unique and different. I want to be extra, sophisticated, and I want to actually represent what people think a PhD means. I would love to look like a PhD lady, you know. But for whatever reason, they let a girl from the hood get a PhD, and maybe I don't know. I don't see why hood people can't have PhDs. I mean, if I did the work and got the grades, I got straight A's. I got straight A's. They don't even let you get anything less than an A with your PhD. They don't even let you get less than an A, for real. I think I got straight A's with my master's degree. I got like 2 or 3 master's degrees, and I pretty much got straight A's. Maybe the first one, I might have got a B or something, the first master's degree. But I had just gotten divorced, and I had 2 kids, and I was in school. So if I got 1 B with my master's degree, it was because, I'm going to blame it on divorce. But I got straight A's otherwise. I don't mind blaming getting 1 B on a divorce. I think that's fair. So, but anyway, I just want to say that, pastors and churches can have a really, really, positive impact on families. These churches and some of these pastors, the good ones, you know what I'm saying, can really keep families together. They really do. But when he died, I mean, we just did not. I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I needed him to stay alive until our son was grown. I needed him to stay alive until our son was grown. But he died, and I just didn't have anyone to talk to after that. No one understood my pain. No one, you know, no one knew what it was like to raise children for a man who don't even like you. You know what I mean? No one. I mean, I read about Leah in the Bible. I read about Leah. Reading about Leah in the Bible helped. You know, Jacob had two wives. He loved Rachel, but he was stuck with Leah. Hated her. The Bible says he hated her. Come on, guys, I'm not making this stuff up. There are husbands who actually hate their wife. It's just true. I lived it and I read it in the Bible and I see it in other relationships. I've seen it myself. And there are wives, they hate their husband. There are wives, I mean, they hate, and they treat their husband so bad and talk to him so bad. It just break my heart. I just can't explain it. So I want to thank Pastor Newby for being that leader who proved me, proved my soul. He did. He did. I had many other pastors, and I had a lot of good pastors that really explained the word to me really good. Because men explain the word different. Women read the Bible and we get something totally, totally different than y'all do. We read the Bible and we get something totally different than y'all. So that's why I love to hear men teach the Bible because y'all look at it so different and I love y'all view. I mean, I know mine because I'm living my view. I'm living it. There's nothing a man can say that can take away my life experience. But a man can explain why they do what they do when they teach the Bible. When men teach the Bible, they're really explaining why they do what they do. And I love it. And I will always listen to men preachers. Always, 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 always. Men teachers, men leaders, especially the entrepreneurs. Men that are entrepreneurs, that are business owners, that have their business up and off the ground. And you ain't even got to be a millionaire. No, you just got a business and it's yours. It's up and off the ground. You have your bills paid. Your bills are paid. You take care of your family. That is a successful business. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if it's a lawn care business. I don't care if it's, you know, roofing business or home improvement business, specializing in floors, plumbing. It don't matter. It's yours. You making enough money to pay your bills and take care of family, you know? So, men like that I listen to. Now, men that work 9 to 5 jobs, of course, I have respect for men that work 9 to 5 jobs, of course. But, you know, I personally don't expect for a man to limit himself to a 9 to 5. Let your 9 to 5 support your own independent business. Use your 9 to 5 to fund you, to invest in you generationally. Because your 9 to 5 usually can't be handed down to your children. Your education usually cannot be transferred over to your children. But your business can, your lawn company can, your roofing company can, your whatever else can be transferred generationally. Those are the men that I listen to, the generational wealth builders, the men that have something to pass down. Working outside of yourself, working outside of your offspring, is just making somebody else beneficial. And it's really robbing your own family for generations at the end of the day. So, again, I'm always looking for, especially brothers, black men, I'm always looking for black men to preach and teach to me what they do to be successful. I have 7 black grandsons, and I'm always looking for Black men leaders to learn from, always. But I don't limit myself to Black men. Of course not. I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to limit myself to Black men. I can't, because not enough Black men own their own businesses. Not enough. Not enough collectively network to have their own towns, their own cities. My grandson, Kaisis, on a live earlier today or yesterday, I let him say a couple of words. I said, say hi. And he said, we are somewhere on a city. I don't know, he was describing something like we're not even here anymore or something. I'm looking at him like, okay, I just said say hi. This boy took us to a whole nother planet somewhere. I don't know, some other existence. Okay. All right. That's what I'm saying. Who cannot afford to listen to Black men? I listen to Black men. On their worst day, I'm still listening. On a Black man's worst day, I'm still listening to him. I'm still listening to him. You know, but I can't afford to not listen to white America. I can't afford not to, because, you know, we all still live, among each other. But I know how I prioritize. I know how I was raised. I know how I was raised. And I know my beliefs, and I know my experience, and I know my audience. I know who I'm speaking to, and I know where I'm speaking from. And even though Pastor Newby, I met him through my second marriage, and that second marriage didn't even last. And Pastor Newby passed on many years ago. He is still my pastor. He is still my pastor. I still love him. I feel his love. He is still present with me, and he is encouraging me to go on. He's encouraging me to go on. And I have tapes. I have some of his tapes, and I'm going to start playing them. They're cassette tapes, those old school cassette tapes, but I found a cassette player at the flea market last year or 2 years ago or whenever. So I found a cassette player. So I'm going to start playing and recording live Pastor Newby's old sermons, because I want him to speak to my spirit again. He's a part of my spiritual life support team. Spiritual life support team. He is still with me. It don't matter what husband I'm with. It don't matter that I have one or not anymore. Pastor Newby, he got me through 9 years of my life that could not have happened otherwise. Had he not been there, I wouldn't have made it those 9 years. I definitely wouldn't have had the strength to make it 25 with the willingness to stay. I was willing to stay anyway, because I know that my love comes from above. And I know that, you know, what my purpose is. And sometimes our partners are not always on the same page, even though we're in the same book. Sometimes we may not be on the same page or grow at the same rate and pace. And we require the fruits of the Spirit to stay together and grow. I understood that. And now I've learned that just because Pastor Newby passed away doesn't mean that he's not with me. He's still with me. He's always been with me. And I want to thank my ex. If he didn't do anything else for me, really, if he didn't do anything else for me, really, I mean, like, really, really, he did bring me to a place to be proven. He allowed me to meet the man that ultimately brought me into the fold of ministry in my own unique way. And I'm thankful for that. And somehow, some way, my grandson, Kaisis, is confirmation that Pastor Newby is still with me. Somehow, some way. He's confirmation. I love my Kaisis. Kaisis means unity. That's what his name means. And he speaks wisdom at 6 years old. Now, his behavior is buck wild now. His behavior is buck wild. And he can say some stuff. Oh, Lord. But, that boy, the insight, though, even at 6, it's different. It's different. I listen. I pay attention to, just because a person is like an infant, a baby, a toddler and young and all that, that don't mean nothing. They still have like insight, like spiritual insight, that, that some of us grown-ups that's been around a long time may not see clearly yet. So we have to listen to what they say. Our grandchildren, us older people, their parents are too busy, you know what I mean? They're busy cooking, cleaning, working, all that stuff. But as we get older, we slow down and we can listen to these kids and get those extra messages coming from the spiritual realm that's just popping out, you know. And that's why I love being around my grandkids. I'm catching the extra, the that extra stuff, spiritual nuggets that just randomly come out of their mouths. They don't even know what they're saying half the time. I catch what I can and be like, oh, thank you. Sometimes the ancestors might be doing something, saying something through the kids. I think Jesus, I'm about to say another name, but Jesus, he even said something like, I'm paraphrasing y'all, like suffer not the little children, like let them speak, let them through. Yeah, because some kids, they come here and they don't even reach adulthood and they pass on. So if you didn't listen to them, pay attention to them, didn't get their point, their purpose, then wow, that's sad. If someone doesn't make it to the age 18 and we didn't listen to them, didn't pay attention, didn't get the point of why they were here, while they were here, that's a loss, a huge loss to the generations. If we don't respect people until they're adults, if we don't take anyone serious until they're grown, so to speak, mm. So that's why I was able to love Pastor Newby. He didn't even agree to the marriage, but still found it in him to make sure that I had everything that I needed spiritually. Even though my ex didn't offer that to me himself, he still brought me to a place where I could get it. I will respect that forever. I will. That's the part of him I will always respect. That's the part of him I will always love and honor and will speak highly of as I continue to, you know, speak against his home wrecking ways. I can speak against his home wrecking ways at the same time, thanking him for leading me to a pastor, the pastor of my lifetime. I would not have met Pastor Newby without my ex husband. I would not have met him. And ultimately, Pastor Newby was the man that I was supposed to meet. He was the man that I was supposed to meet. He was the man that listened to my soul, my spirit cry out. And he came up with creative ways to keep me alive, keep me going, all the way to the extent of a library. I mean, like, wow. And so now I have a church in my basement. And Most High put that church in my basement because that's one of the things that my ex refused to do for me was open up a church. I saw us as co-pastors of a church. He didn't see it. So instead of pursuing the church with me, he decided to divorce and marry someone else instead. Someone that shares whatever his vision is. He never really told me what his vision was. It's kind of hard for a wife to follow a husband if he don't give her anything to follow. You have to, what's the plan? Where are we headed? It has to be more than your 9 to 5 job. Your 9 to 5 job cannot be it. There has to be more to our marriage than this one 9 to 5 job. After Pastor Newby died, church wasn't the same. The kids grew up, they're leaving. I did a lot of part-time work, a lot of, it's the kids, substitute teacher in the district. I did a lot of stuff, busy work, because we didn't have a family business for me to run. I come from a family where my grandpa had a 9 to 5, yeah. He worked for the big three, yeah. But he had his own gas station. He had apartment buildings and, rental properties and, what I'm saying? Other stuff for the family to draw off of for when he's gone. Because when that 9 to 5, you know, when he retired, it wouldn't benefit the kids anymore. It would just benefit his wife. So the kids were going to need rental properties, was going to need some type of business, teach your kids skills, of course, let them go to school, use the system to benefit generational wealth. Use your education, 9 to 5s, all that stuff to pour into the family's network, your own nation. So that's how I grew up. But I let the second marriage rob me of what I knew for myself and reduce me to a 9 to 5, then I now have to split with the woman he left me for. So at this point in my life, I choose to no longer invest in legal marriage that leaves me bankrupt, that guides me away from generational wealth that I've been exposed to for at least 4 to 5 generations. The concept, I know better now. I can't do 9 to 5 men. I mean, you can have a 9 to 5, but it is only being used to supplement your self, your entrepreneur, your business, your generational wealth. I notice about myself now. So if a man doesn't already have a proven, you know, net worth within himself, not outside of himself, within himself, like I am, you know what I'm saying? Then he's going to bankrupt me. He's just there to steal what I got, you know? I've learned that. So, and I thank God, like I said, for Pastor Newby. And I do thank God for my second husband because without him, I would not have come across the pastor that really, really, you know, developed my soul, developed my spirituality, the one that let me put it all out there. You know, now, I've always had this kind of relationship with pastors, but when you're talking about stuff like forced adoption, this man really don't want me. You know what I mean? These revelations that occur after you say I do, after you're locked down and you don't have a prenup. You don't have a prenup and you have all these, you know, you're overcommitted. You don't have a prenup and you're overcommitted to someone that does not have generational wealth. Someone that does not understand, you know, they just don't get it. Don't understand kingdom wealth, kingdom generational wealth building. I'm like, what, fourth generation, fifth generation of it. And this person has no concept. So I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. And, but while I was learning the lesson, while I was learning it, the pastor that we had in the beginning, I believe because of him, I was able to endure the rest of the marriage and am able to be on this platform today and speak about it. In the spirit realm, he put me here in the spirit realm. And over time, I'll be able to explain over time as it comes to me. But in the meantime, I'm going to start playing his cassette tapes so that you guys can hear what I heard back in the day. So you guys will know what I'm talking about. You know, that old school back in the day, preaching and teaching. And he was not a hooping and hollering type, in case y'all concerned. Now, I love all the types. I just like hearing black men preach and teach. I don't care if you're hooping and hollering, talking plain, whatever. Extra proper, extra country. I don't care. Just talk. I just love it when the brothers talk. Teaching, actually teaching to uplift so that we all can be wealthy together. And now I know, what to look for in my partners though. I was blessed the first marriage because, neither one of us really, knew what we were doing really. I knew how I was raised, but I didn't know how to interpret it all. So as I was interpreting, my life and learning in college and was dating my, college sweetheart, which we ended up married, and had two kids. We were learning together how to combine our upbringing with what we're learning in school and, what we're learning at church together. How do we build a life off of everything that we've learned? You know what I mean? And we came up with something. We came up with something in college, and it has worked for both of us all this time, even though we divorced and not even together and don't even talk like that. We're not enemies. We get along. I don't hate him. He don't hate me. Nothing like that. But we don't see each other talk, nothing like that, you know. But the life plan that we developed at 18, 19, 20 years old before we got married. We're still living off that today. So that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And so I'm able to still live off of a pastor's inspiration from the second marriage. So the second marriage itself didn't bring all that I needed, but the pastor that we had during that time, I got so much out of that till I'm able to still, reap the benefits to that. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. It makes me feel stronger. It makes me forgive everything that I went through in that marriage. It makes me feel like, yeah, it was worth it. Yeah, yeah. Maybe on the dark side of my life, he was made for me. And on the light side of my life, I had a partner that was made for me on the light side of my life. I had to live out the light side of my life too. And even in that marriage, we had a light side of the marriage. We did. The light side had challenges, you know. But as a second marriage as a whole, I consider it the dark marriage. But the dark marriage did have its own wing of lightness that I enjoyed. And this may sound completely crazy, and that's fine. It's my experience, my mind, how I'm explaining it. And some people will get it, and some people won't. And it's okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep talking. And all this talking that I'm doing, I'm using this same material to lay out my theory that I call the eternal deficit of mankind. The eternal deficit of mankind, created by Dr. Alicia the Preacher, is really what you're, you know, witnessing and watching roll out and be presented on this channel. I'm starting to go back to my original videos, re-listen to them with today's knowledge and understanding and news and information and updates, and go back and realize what I was saying to myself back then. And I'm retitling things and, you know, um, creating shorts, um, and other messages and stuff. So this is exciting for me. And I love what I'm doing. And I'm learning to love myself. And I'm learning to go back out there and, enjoy people again. And without feeling like something bad's going to happen. Because now I have on my own found something good that came out of that last marriage. Despite how it ended, something really good came out of it. And that was Pastor Newby. I want to say Pastor Newby was the best thing that came out of that marriage, the pastor that we were under, even though he didn't even agree to the marriage. And while I was in the marriage, I was able to experience why he didn't agree. And he was kind enough to guide me through my punishment. I was getting my ass beat, but Pastor was there to guide me through it. Then he passed away. Then I had to put on my big girl panties and finish it the rest of the way. And I did. That's all I can say. I did. So thank you, Pastor Newby. Now I can, not feel so cheated and robbed and completely hoodwinked and bamboozled and, you know, and flatlined. I can actually just let this go now and allow Most High to continue to do what he do. And I'm thankful for Pastor Newby. And I'm going to keep sharing my Pastor Newby stories and, um, and kind of maybe steer away from certain things concerning the marriage. I'm going to always, oops, I keep hitting that thing. Ah, I'm going to always, share stuff about that marriage, of course, but there's some things I can kind of maybe, share less of and focus more on the Pastor Newbie part of it now, and share his tapes and stuff that and explain the different things that you know just kind of like share my experiences from that marriage from a different lens, from what I got from Pastor Newbie, I guess you could say. So I'll be starting a Pastor Newbie. He's passed away, so we'll say like rest in peace and things like that. But he was a former pastor that's passed away that really meant something to me that was really important. I'm just one of those women that value black male leadership, even if he's not alive. Right now, I don't have any like black men in my life to, you know, be led by, I guess you could say. I don't have really any, Um, maybe one is kind of, here, kind of here, kind of, but but for the most part, there is none right now. So this was a former pastor. I know what he meant to me, and I have cassette tapes that I want to share with you guys. So some point, maybe before the year's out, definitely, January as we go into the new year, I'll start my Pastor Newbie um, series. This is so cool, guys. I love this channel. I love what I'm doing, and I like how I'm just sharing myself as I'm learning myself, this new phase that I'm in, being a senior citizen, 55 and old. I'm a senior citizen, y'all. Hey, this is a new phase of life. I got to find out all the discounts I can get out there. Senior citizen discounts. I've been waiting for years, y'all. So I'm here now. So I'm going to enjoy my senior life, my senior world in a sexy way, a spiritual way, authentic way, my own way. Some people will like it, and there will always be haters. That's just the way it is. But I was a cheerleader and stuff, so I know how to turn haters into fans, you know, or send them home losing. That's just how it is. Okay. All right. I'm done, guys. Y'all know how I am. Y'all be blessed and love yourself, love your offspring. When no one else is good to you, you be good to you. Value those who you know got your back. And those who don't, just let them go. Let them go. Do what they want to do. That's what's best. And once again, I'm thankful for Pastor Newby. And right now, I'm able to feel lighter, feel happier, feel more spiritual, feel more aligned, willing to love again. And when I say love again, I ain't talking about getting legally married and all that stuff. Just love. Let people be around me, be themselves. I'd be myself. Just be polite, be kind. When conflict arises, deal with it and keep it pushing. Don't overcommit, you know. Share what I want to share. And what I don't want to share, I just won't. It is what it is. Okay, guys. Bye. Love you.